Is it possible to bring this motherboard back from the dead via the dark arts of BIOS flashing with inexpensive reprogrammers? Join me on this journey where I find out that I'm not as clever as I think I am, an already low bar. Welcome to S Computers, I'm Scott, and today on the desk of ESC, for reasons we'll get to, we have a cautionary tale, not a tutorial, so please don't follow along unless you like ordering replacement parts. In fact, overall it's a sad tale of ultimate failure, so if you must have a happy ending, close off this video and head off to a massage parlour. I mentioned in passing during the Colink Rocket build a few weeks back that I somehow bricked a motherboard when turning secure boot on. Well, here it is, and I'm going to try to fix it. I'm reenacting this mainly for the sake of the video, but it wouldn't be the first time that something has apparently fixed itself by taking a long rest, the Dungeons and Dragons approach to repair, but no such luck here, and as you see we're getting power to all the appropriate bits. Fans spinning, power to the USB peripherals, processor warming up indicating that something's happening, but no video out. The first troubleshooting step was to buy a Ryzen 5 2400G in case it's somehow stuck trying to output to the integrated graphics that weren't built into the R5 5600 that I'd been using. A bit of a stretch, but thought it was worth a try. However, no dice with that or any of the discrete graphics cards that I have lying around. So my assumption was that the board's BIOS was corrupted somehow during changing settings to the point where it's not able to boot. The usual resetting procedures didn't help, no matter how long the reset button is held, or the battery left unplugged. The next step was to reprogram the BIOS chip with a flasher tool, but I don't own one, so that means this all goes back into the box until it arrives from China. This CH341A programmer is almost certainly a cheap clone of some better original piece of kit, but it should do what I need, and I can't justify spending much more on something that I may never use again. The idea here is that if I can't get the computer to flash itself, by grab Thar's hammer, I'll do it to it. This clips onto the BIOS chip, whose markings tell me is the catchily named Winbond W25Q128JWSIQ. We all remember that classic advertising jingle, don't we?
Got your board already? Need a name that sticks with you? Just call W25Q128JWSIQ. That's W25Q128JWSIQ. Sing it once, it stays with you. W25Q128JWSIQ.
This clip attaches to the programmer, the programmer board attaches to the computer board, and a software program writes the BIOS update directly to the chip, after downloading that from the manufacturer's website of course. So here's me giving that a go. Now, people who actually know what they're doing, or stopped to properly read this datasheet, will be wincing, as what I've done is ram 3.3 volts through a 1.8 volt part. If it wasn't dead before, I'm pretty sure I killed it here. Annoyingly, I did read the datasheet before doing this, so there's really no excuse apart from rampant stupidity. No surprise that I'm just getting an assortment of unrecognised chip errors, although it does go through the motions of writing to the flash, it can only read back an empty ROM. Womp womp. This means that all of this goes back into the box for a few weeks until some replacement chips arrive from China. It was as cheap to order 5 from China as it was for 1 locally, and as this isn't urgent and I have a now established track record of ruining chips, it may be best to have a few spare on hand. Step 1 is to flash the BIOS to the blank chip, and after more fiddling around than I like, the clip is attached, and this time we make sure to use this interposing board that drops the voltage to the necessary 1.8 volts. We load the BIOS into the AsProgrammer software, flash it over, and then I'm going to read it back out, save it to a file, and compare it to the original file using the Windows FC command line tool. Now, this is just for my peace of mind really. The AsProgrammer software does a verify check itself, but double checking won't hurt. Now we need to swap the BIOS chip on board with this newly created one. As a Hail Mary, and seeing as it was all set up, I did again try reprogramming the old and busted BIOS just in case, as I'm not super confident with board level rework, but to no avail, it's still busted. So time to dust off the hot air rework station. This was another budget 30 odd quid pick from many years back that I've not used in, well, many years, but it's time for this overblown hairdryer to shine again. I've removed the CPU cooler mounting bracket to avoid melting it, and I'm trying to Captain tape as much of the surrounding microscopic surface components around the area as possible to protect them from heat, as I don't want to be reattaching any of those should they also come off. A few doses of many years old Chip Quick should help, if it's still good that is, and indeed after a bit of heating up the old BIOS comes off easily enough, and the new one goes on, well, I'm not going to say easily exactly, but it does go on. On visual inspection it looks like the chip legs are down on the pads, and later on I'll check the continuity with a multimeter, and that confirms that it's on where it should be, although you'd not mistake this for factory condition. So I'm feeling quite pleased with myself as I get this rigged up for retesting, only to be met with exactly the same behaviour as before. Womp womp. Clearly there's something else wrong with this board, but it's now beyond my knowledge on how to repair. That means that it goes back into the box, well, permanently, I guess. Unless you good people out there in YouTube land can suggest something that I can try to resurrect it. A shame, as I have a few video ideas that need an AM4 ITX board. Where's an AliExpress sale when you need it? If you have any questions or want further details, please leave a comment down below, and if you enjoyed this Videotronic missive, then please consider subscribing. But until next time, take care of yourself and each other.